Hey AfterBuzzers, we're here for the American Gothic After Show. We're going to talk about Season 1, Episode 4, Christina's World. Don't want to miss it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Come on. Dun, 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 dun. Because you can't start an episode better than S&M with two women, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's how you want to get ratings. That's how you do it. Bum, 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 bum. I remember my first job in college, like this would come on the radio all the time, and it was like, you know what, we're good with it. Alright guys, I'm Gabriel Gonzalez. Welcome to the American Gothic After Show. You can catch me on Twitter at @G on TV, and running the live chat tonight, I have the amazing Lacretia.
Yes, it's me, Lacretia Lyon, and you can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet since there is only one.
That's right. Now you'll notice, obviously, Zoe Hewitt is not here tonight. We're gonna find Nancy Drew eventually, but you could follow her on Twitter at Zoe Said What. As she always says, it's ZOE Said What, and she's always doing her movie reviews. This week she did a spoiler-free review of The Secret Life of Pets, so I'm sure you guys will enjoy that, and she'll love talking to you guys in the comments about the episode. But so very hot and sexy opening. We have some S&M with Alison and Naomi after we implied that at the end of the last episode. And I know this whole episode, to me, I think that it might have been the most lighthearted out of all of them that we've seen. The last few, obviously American Gothic, they stick true to that title and that mood throughout, but this one, it started off hot, and I think this one had the most humor, and I think that a lot of the fans are probably going to talk about that it was a nice breath of fresh air.
Yeah, lots of sex in it.
Yes, it did. So, counting it down, we had Alison and Naomi. We had Tessa giving some hot phone calls to Brady saying, you know, we need to try to make this baby tonight. And then he's like, is it the time? And she's like, I don't care. I just want us to keep our skills sharp.
All right.
I mean, you know, do you know people who give phone calls like that?
I'm sure I do.
They just don't tell you about it. Yeah, I don't know if I want to know my friends that well sometimes. Yeah, we also had Tom and Alison. So, you know, Alison just all over the place tonight, but I was okay with it. And then we obviously have Garrett and Christina, which we're going to talk all about. That was a very interesting twist, so I know you guys are probably just as shocked as I am. But, so we deal with the fallout of last week's episode. They obviously, I don't think they showed it was Gunther, but we all knew it was going to be him. And we see the note that says, I'm sorry. So automatically, you know, they're doing the whole thing. The family is there in shock. Brady has brought the rest of his police crew in, and Cutter seems to not want to give Brady the opportunity to be on the case, but he immediately throws out facts that show, hey, this isn't a conflict of interest. I mean, we all know he provided the DNA last episode, or two. Was it the last one or the one before?
The last one.
Yeah, so he's shown, hey, my head is in the game. I'm ready to solve the case. Now, they immediately say that, you know what, it had to be the Silver Bells killer. Brady shows, okay, was he feeling guilty about it? And he reveals the fact that apparently Gunther secretly hated rich people. Which I don't know how you can be a gardener for the Hawthornes and hate rich people, because Madeline seems to embody the thing that stereotypically I think everyone hates about rich people.
Yes.
Like, would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. It's like an episode of Devious Maids, only darker, which is weird.
Yeah, so I don't know how he got into that job and kept it for so long, but, you know, that was it. So Brady says everything should be pointing to Gunther. Now, obviously the big thing is the Silver Bells, what happened to them. Madeline says that she didn't want to tell the police about them and that she told Gunther before he killed himself. She doesn't dispute that he did. Says that she sent him to get rid of the Silver Bells, and she wants that just swept under the rug because even in the best case scenario, it proves that she destroyed evidence. And going forward, she's talking with her daughters. She tells Alison and Tess, don't tell the police because we don't know if Brady, we can trust him yet. And because it could be so incriminating to now the family business, Alison's campaign, the Hawthornes as, I guess, their status as elite. So Tess goes along with it and really, more than the last episode, is now actively committed to keeping a secret from Brady. So, I don't know. Did you think that already just episode 4 we would see a possible breakdown of Tessa and Brady, or did you think they would maybe last longer from what we've seen?
Yeah, I mean, any couple that humps that much in the first episode, you know there's going to be problems. It's like, all right, they're in the honeymoon phase. That's going to end quickly.
It does, especially when you introduce things like murder and secrets and
he's a cop, you know.
A dead father, a lesbian sister. I'm sorry, I just can't get over that.
I know, that was your favorite part.
Stop, rewind. Nah, just kidding. Yeah, but so we go to our second couple of the episode, Cam and Sophie. So they open up. We see that unfortunately our favorite character, Jack, the scene stealer, is off at camp for the weekend. So we didn't see any dolls with dentures or, you know, mutilated cats, which I was almost disappointed because now every week one of the fun things is, what is that boy gonna do?
I know, it was disappointing not to see Jack. He's my favorite character because he's just so delightfully demented.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's weird to enjoy it for that reason, but it's just so true. And so Cam and Sophie kind of, I don't like it because for the last few episodes, she's kind of trying to keep Cam not addicted to drugs as much as addicted to her and her body. You know, they got really into it for the whole episode. But this week, to celebrate the fact that Cam is no longer a suspect after worrying about those tapes, they do a whole line of blow pretty much off of each other, and just we see more of why she's a negative influence, and I guess really more like how you expect a child from the two of them to end up like normal and clean cut. It just was never going to happen, I guess.
Yeah, to me, it was very telling in the first episode when he's trying to stay away from Sophie, and you see why, because she's his trigger. And I know a lot of people are that when you have a drug addict, there's that one person that tends to always lead them, whether, you know, on purpose or just by being around them.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, I also got to say, Sophie, she probably can't get away from Cam. I don't think it's just that he's convenient. I do think that deep down she does feel a certain sort of thing for him. But I think both of them are still more they're more drawn to their addictions rather than each other. It just so happens that they kind of mesh together as a couple in that way. So I was surprised at that, you know, we see her do, I guess not a 180, but at least a 90-degree turn back in the other direction. We saw more breakdown. Brady goes to Tess and is like, hey, it's out. He used the DNA sample. He took the hair from the brush. But now that they all think it's Gunther, it can't be any of the family, he's just there like, I don't want any more secrets between us. And Tess, she does, when you know you're hiding a secret from your husband, you know, she does that thing like, goes along, but you can see on her face. And I guess that was really the big signal that, you know what, she's not going to keep the secret for too long. I thought if she had maybe pulled a Madeline and can keep a very stone cold face, that okay, maybe it's going to be a big secret that reveals, but I think we saw early on that it was going to be something that just goes early. But we get to one of the bigger cruxes of the episode. We saw Alison and Tom are struggling with a lawsuit. Sorry, I blanked out on the word. They're struggling with the lawsuit to Hawthorne Concrete Company. Apparently, one of the people who was in the tunnel during that accident in the pilot lost her foot. And she's making a big show of everything. I want justice. And we see that, first off, that Alison reveals to Madeline that Tom is the one who bought the company from her. It wasn't the Tokyo Investment Group, as apparently was the story. So we see Alison and Tom, despite the fact that they don't have the best marriage, but they're reuniting together, and they essentially put on a little skit for this woman who is sitting there in her chair with her just, you know, her limb. It doesn't have the foot. It looks like she doesn't have below the knee, and it's just propped up. And they do a thing like, Tom says, we'll give you $200,000. And Alison does a whole show of, wait, we didn't discuss that. What do you mean? How do you do that? And Ava doesn't fall for it. And she delivers one of the better lines of the entire series. She says straight to Alison, I want $15 million or my foot back. And it just shows the stump wrapped up. And it was just one of those moments like, damn, like they went there. So it's already, in the first half of the episode, it was already more humor. Obviously still secrets that you want out of a murder mystery, but now you're just seeing all this, they're playing games with each other, and I don't know, it's just so lighthearted. And it was very weird to say that, considering what we've come to know. Do we have anyone in the live chat who agrees with us so far?
Yeah, Renji90998 said they love that she clapped to their performance.
It was, because also I think that it was so well done that I think you could figure out that they were doing a skit just from the way Alison was moving. And it's weird to watch an actor in a show pretend to be acting. And, I think that's what's always entertaining, because it's like, how do they stereotype themselves doing something? So I really enjoyed that. We get to our second conflict of the episode. So Cam is kicking back at Sophie's place. She's not there. You get this big, huge drug dealer come in, and he knocks on the door, which is weird. Cam lets him in, and he just sort of lets himself into the rest of the house, and he's doing that thing that, thugs do. He's looking around, he's talking in, weird metaphors. He says, it's like, what's your name? And he's like, Link, and Cam actually says, you mean like from Zelda?
Oh, yeah.
And which I get, the comic book guy would make that connection. And, Link does the thing, I'm the dealer, and where's Sophie? And brings up the fact that she owes $4,000 to him, and, Cam is saying, hey, I want you to leave. We all knew it wasn't gonna end quietly, even though Link kind of just says, oh, okay. And he does the little walk toward the door. And then he does what you kind of expected. Cam is right there. He drops him with the, right cross. He kicks him on the ground. Does his whole thing. She better have my money tomorrow or else. Gangster 101 or drug dealer 101.
Another Rihanna song. Bitch better have my money.
Yeah, better have my money. I mean, it's so addicting, even though it's so silly sometimes. Did she ever get her money back? I never saw the music video.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Let us know in the live chat. Did Rihanna ever get that money?
I saw an interview. She said if you watch the music video, it's got the answer, but I never got around to it. Anyway, so we're left there. We also get back to the police station. Poor Brady has got a visit from Phyllis, and Phyllis, in all of the commotion of Gunther's suicide, she apparently went to Cutter and was like, I need to speak to someone about my cat Caramel, which I don't know how she still survived this long with just her cat to rely on. So she's making Brady's day at work miserable. She brings the photo albums of cat stuff and said, the story actually started with my first cat. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, you think about cops, it's like you have a weapon, and it's like, do you want to use it on yourself when you're suffering that much in the office? But it was one of those things that, okay, Brady's kind of sitting there, yes ma'am. But she reveals that Gunther had once gotten into an accident avoiding Caramel, and Cutter overhears it, and it kind of just pulls Brady away. Phyllis realizes, it's like, you're not going to get justice for my cat, are you? And Cutter's essentially like, no. But they pull Brady aside because it's like, we have to get to that hospital, find those records, because apparently there's some kind of inconsistency now with Gunther being the killer, which I really like, because I feel like if they had, it's like saying the butler did it it would have been so obvious. It's just they inserted the word gardener. If they had actually held on to this secret for a long time, I feel like it would have been like, we know it's not Gunther. Everyone and their mama knows it wasn't him, even though he's creepy. So I'm glad they kind of just got it out of the way that it's not going to be a recurring issue past this episode.
Yeah, they seem to wrap up the little ends nicely. You know, that way you're not still dragging it on. Yeah,
they did, and you know what? The pacing. I really enjoyed the pacing for this episode. They did a great job of really sprinkling things throughout, and I think that really helped compared to the last few episodes. Everything kind of seems to have that simmer, the whole thing, and in the last 10 minutes we get a bit of a pop. This one, it really just had its nice pacing throughout, up and down. I don't know why I'm swimming like Dory, but yeah, it worked very well, I thought, after everything, and it kept it feeling fresh. We get to the next issue where we see that Alison and Tom they see that Mitch, their father who ran the company, cut a lot of corners. They see he paid people off in construction as far as codes and other things, a lot of technical jargon that, you know, goes along with construction. They find out Mitch paid a lot of people off, but they find out something very interesting, and they go to her rival, the mayor, and she kind of has that line, remember before you were a corrupt mayor, you were just a corrupt safety inspector? Oh, and yes. They see his signature on the safety inspection of the day in question where Miss Ava Tyler lost her foot. And Alison, you know, it's a uneasy alliance, but she gets the mayor, her enemy, to kind of like, you don't need this, I don't need this, we're gonna have to work together. I don't know, what do you think of two... It's weird because it's election season. We're seeing things like Bernie and Hillary, and it's like, what do you think of two political enemies just having to join up forces randomly?
It happens all the time, I think, you know, just because they're fighting the same force or what, you know, usually it's more quid pro quo. I mean,
yeah.
You know.
And that's, it's weird because we get to exactly what happened later on, but I found it was very interesting just to watch that. After last episode, we thought, well, he's not going to want to mess with her again because he already saw what happened when he tried to frame Cam and she still flipped it on him. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, do we have anyone else wanted to chime in? By the way, thank you everyone for watching, especially whether you're listening on iTunes as a podcast or watching us live on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Remember to please rate us. If you're on YouTube, as I like to say from my favorite NBA commercial, give us those 5 stars. It's with that awesome. Yeah, do we have anyone else?
Basically, Brady again said they were tired of the lady mentioning her cat Phyllis until she actually gave useful information. And I think that's the thing, is this is going to be a recurring character that is going to be useful eventually. Yeah. But Jack is so going to kill that cat.
I mean, you know what I find? Yeah. I feel like they're going to make a twist randomly. Somehow he saves the cat and we see, oh, he has humanity. He's not beyond saving. I still can't believe Phyllis is still alive. I really thought she'd be gone by episode 3. What about you? You think she's gonna... Do you see her making it past, let's say, episode 8?
No. Well, I mean, there's gonna be something that happens. She'll figure something out. I mean, she's sort of like Mrs. Hooper in Desperate Housewives to me, only I don't see this show going that long, so I'm like... Yeah, she'll die soon. That nosy neighbor who nobody likes because, you know, she's a crazy old cat lady.
I just think, I keep saying it every week, if all you have in a murder mystery show looking out for you is your cats, you are not going to live that long.
No. And Charles Ray hates Madeline. He hopes she could just die. It's like, that's funny.
I mean... Is it karmic justice, or is it just she's so shady? She's everything I think people don't like about the excessively rich. You know, she's corrupt, she's mean. You don't know she's a killer. It's like when she hugs her kids, she's thinking about how to strangle them.
That's really what it feels like to me, you know, and I love Virginia Madsen, but more like Candyman Virginia Madsen. Like, I just want someone to be like, I hear you're looking for the Candyman, bitch.
Yeah, like not cold-blooded. Well, she's just cold-blooded homicidal in this one. Anyway, back to our storyline. So, Cam, okay, this was my favorite part of the episode. We were talking about it. So, Cam is sitting there in the morning. He's talking with Garrett, and he's saying that he wants to get the money I got ahead of myself. Cam wants to get the money for Sophie. We see that revealed. But before any of that happens, Tessa is sitting on the steps and, you know, she makes this comment. Madeline comes to join her mother, and she says this line that, like, as long as we've lived in this house, I don't think I've ever sat on these steps. Which is kind of weird because it's like you'd think that's a normal thing that just happens over the course of growing up. You sit with your parents somewhere random and talk with them. But they have that weird line. So Tessa says, I'm not sure I want to have kids with Brady anymore. She doesn't feel like she could trust him. She still wants to have kids, but now her biological clock ticking, but then she doesn't want to just have kids with Brady anymore. And Madeline delivers one of those signature Madeline moments. She sits there and she tells Tessa essentially, nothing is more important than family. And she says that in a way like, nothing would stop me from killing someone to protect you. She says it with that exact tone. And then then literally like a second later, she's like, and the twins are great, but I want a little bit of you. I want my grandchild. And I'm like, no, it's not supposed to work that way.
It's like, you know, you're not really grandmother material.
But she did, and then she does the thing. Zoe would be so proud. Awkward hugs. The whole family specializes in them. And Madeline does the thing. She pulls Tessa in, and she does that look with the eyes, almost like she's holding her daughter, but she's willing to kill her for no reason. And it was that weird juxtaposition, creepy versus nurturing. So
I know you guys, whole family, yeah.
Yeah, I think the viewers weigh in. Did you think it was more creepy? Did you believe she was more nurturing? I mean, Virginia Madsen just showing off how great of an actress she is, I think. So I know it's up in the air. We get to the biggest revelation. It took them longer to address it than I thought they would, but we saw at the end of last episode, Garrett, he cut his hand open specifically so he could go and have his hand stitched by this cute, was she a veterinarian? She wasn't a doctor. He didn't go to a hospital.
Yeah, I believe she was just an RN, probably a registered nurse.
Yeah, so, you know, he goes and he's trying to get to sweet talk her a bit. We see now he's at a bar and he's watching her, and she's celebrating something. She's happy. And in true creeper fashion, she leaves, and he does that thing. He leaves the money on the table, and it looks like he's going to follow her to watch her some more. And she's right there watching him, and it's like, I fixed up your hand, and you're not going to say hi. Oh. And so I thought, okay, Garrett, he's going to show off more of his creepy side. You and Christina have something in common. You're not intimidated by that. Instead, you seem to find it a little alluring.
Yes, I actually find Garrett's creepiness to be sexy.
It's sexy. Yeah. It's just that what did you use? The lumberjack?
Yeah.
Gruffness.
I'm a lumbersexual. I don't look bad.
Okay, yeah. Okay. All right. I was going to say, is that why you love Deadpool so much too? Because he ended up looking ugly in that movie? Yeah. Anyway.
I have an uggo fetish. No.
Yeah, so she just takes him outside, and for someone who is so awkward so often, he's only ever seemed to be comfortable and normal with Jack. He does a weird thing of not saying too much, and she's just into it anyway.
Ladies like guys who don't talk a lot. Like, it's like they might have something mysterious underneath. So the less you say, the hotter you are to women. And that is the thing.
Well, I don't feel like saying anything anymore.
You're like, oh, I'm done with this.
Lacretia, why don't you tell me more about you? No. Anyway, so we see Garrett and Christina says, well, I felt like celebrating, so she's gotten her drink already. She's gotten her cigarette, And, well, she wanted to get a little more of something that Garrett can provide. And she wastes very little time getting right into it. So we didn't get too much action from Christina. They cut away. After showing Alison and Naomi, I was kind of shocked that they ended it so quick. But they did, but we take it to assume, you know, Garrett and Christina spend a lovely evening of conversation. But I was shocked because when you watched last week's episode, do you feel like Garrett's intention was to necessarily integrate himself into her life? Or did you think he was maybe looking to cause other things to happen maybe for her? Like he was intending to maybe just watch longer.
Yeah, I think that he's just trying to figure out if maybe she knows something because, you know, he was stalking her for a while, it seemed, and he's sort of inserting himself into her life. So I think it is he's just curious what she knows. And I know Chaos 1321 has wondered if you think that Garrett was actually in on the killing but changed his mind. You know, and so maybe that's it. Maybe he was there, but he really didn't do anything. So he's kind of wondering if maybe her dad, yeah.
You know, the nice thing, you know, you're getting ahead of us because that's a very good question that we're raised with. And I think right now that we're going to get into it with predictions. But I think to address your question, right now I'm still standing to it that Garrett was somehow involved, whether through the father or through one of the siblings, but I do believe that he did physically commit one of the murders himself. I will stand by that. Anyway, they cut away from Garrett and Christina. We see Brady and Cutter go to the hospital. They get their records. They find out a few things about our favorite gardener. They find out he was rehabbing for 9 weeks, right in the timeline that eliminates him from SBK contention as a suspect. They also find out he was dying of cancer. He only had a little while to live, so they said, well, is that why he killed himself? Because he was trying to get away? Brady doesn't know how much about the family, but I think we take it to assume Gunther did not kill himself. It's just too convenient. One of them had to have done it, and we don't know if the one who killed Gunther is SBK or one of them did it for one of their other reasons, but we just know he didn't kill himself.
Yeah, and to me, it seems so obvious that it's Madeline that it's not. And to be honest, how could she do it herself? You know, I'm sure she's a very capable woman, but more like hiring somebody to do it to get his, you know, he was a very big guy. How are you going to hang that guy?
See, that's what you said. You know, it's too obvious, but it can't be. I feel like we're saying that about everybody.
Everybody's suspecting here.
It is, you know. I'm starting to think I did it as much as I'm watching the show.
I just want to let everybody know I'm SBK.
I was wondering why I found that bell next to my car.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell you what I drive, which is the creepy thing.
Super creepy.
Dun, dun, dun. No. All right, so we get right into my favorite part again. I jumped the gun. But Cam and Garrett are sitting in their nice, rich kitchen in the morning. And Cam is telling Garrett, I need to get $4,000. He can't tell his mom because she's automatically going to assume it's for drugs, which technically it is, just not his drugs. But he's still taking them and still using them. Oh my goodness. So this made me laugh out loud watching it. So obviously we know how Cam and Garrett are with each other by now. And before Madeline walks in, and before Cam even says anything, Garrett is just like, I need some money. And Cam is just kind of like he just stops for a second, like, I didn't expect that, just like the rest of us. And, you know, Garrett starts saying, well, you know, give me the money, give it to me out of the cut he left for me in the will. And Madeline doesn't really ask questions. Garrett plays that card. I haven't asked you for anything. Hold on, let me do the Garrett voice. I haven't asked you for anything for 14 years. You know, did I do it well?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you know, he's just very raspy. Anyway, but he does that, and Madeline doesn't really question it. She writes the check, makes it out to cash, and then Garrett gets the check in hand, But when Madeline asks him, well, what are you doing with the money? And he just gives it to Cam like, it's for Cam. And then it's like, you think he's about to do something so nice, and he throws his brother under the bus. And I'm like, but it was brilliant.
Yep, he's like, all right, got it. Now I can tell you what it's for.
Oh, and it was so funny, and I enjoyed it. We get to another, just very, how do I put it? Very hot and bothered family this episode. Tessa, after having that conversation with Mom, calls Brady, and she gives him that message that I think a lot of guys like getting at work. She's like, I can't wait for you to come home. I want us to try for a baby. And he's automatically, well, after they've been trying, it's like, well, is it time? And she says, like, I just want us to keep our skills sharp. Oh, wow. Which is just like, damn.
Yeah, this is a really horny and kinky family.
But I like it.
Yeah.
So that we get that moment. We get one of the most crucial scenes I think we've had so far in the series. We had the picnic with Garrett and Christina. So she has a bit of Garrett gets her talking again. He doesn't use many words. She just really offers a lot unprompted, and gets her to talk about, well, why was she happy? And she says it like she's guilty, which I get. It's like, well, I found out the person who killed my dad died. The killer is dead, and yeah, I'm celebrating death. Garrett, because he's so twisted, doesn't have a problem with that at all. But when Christina starts revealing more about herself and how she felt, she reveals to him that she was the one who found her father's body in SPK fashion. Garrett delivers that line that is changed the game, and Zoe, where are you? Because this is the moment where I get to say, I'm right. He says to Christina in that tone, maybe the killer wasn't thinking about collateral damage. And he says it in that tone, I wasn't thinking about collateral damage. And there's no two ways about it. He says it like he either did it himself or he knows who did it and he was there and he understood it.
Yeah, and to me, this may mean he could have killed her father, but I don't think that he killed the other people. And I think that may be why he stalked her, is that he feels guilty and was just wondering what was going on. But yeah, as a lot of people have speculated before, as well as me, I think it was a family effort, and Garrett maybe only killed one person. I didn't think he was the head of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I gotta flip it, and maybe the fans chime in. With the way he says it, he makes it sound like he was involved with her father's murder. But could it be possible that her father is someone that he didn't personally kill, but he knows who did the others, so obviously he maybe somehow feels responsible that her father got killed, and that's why he's okay hooking up with her? Because he says it like he felt guilty, but obviously, if he was responsible, well, he's had many years to deal with this. Why is it only coming up now? So I guess that's my question. Do you think that Garrett, if he is responsible for murders, is he responsible for the father, or is he responsible for the others besides him?
To me, the way it seems is he's possibly only responsible and saw her father. That's why he feels this extra guilt towards her.
Okay.
But yeah, the other ones he knows are connected, but he doesn't seem to have the same connection. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I buy that. I know, it's one of those weird things. Christina, and then she ends it asking one of those beautiful murder mystery questions. She sits there, and in that sweet voice that we love women using, it's like, I want you to tell me about your baggage now. Oh, honey, why you gotta ask him something like that? We know, you need a whole movie to explain his baggage, but okay, we're left with that very lovely line. We get some more fun stuff. The mayor and Alison are working together, and they have found a solution to their problem. So they go back to Eva Tyler's place, and there she is, still with the leg propped up and everything. And they give the they give her a deal. She could take $1 million and that'll be it. And they reveal her leverage over her. They show that they have that drunk video of her. She's trash talking apparently her best friend Lizzie. And Ava is shocked. And Alison reveals why it's so important. Apparently she was on probation for a DUI, and one of the conditions is she cannot be consuming alcohol at all. I don't know. Well, obviously with cameras, it's easier to get caught. But I guess how would you really know that if someone's just in their house?
Yeah, they probably have like a breathalyzer on her car, but that's the only way they can really prevent anything.
I mean, just like
I've known several people who had those.
I do too. I also sometimes ask, it's like, really, how did you let that happen enough to get to that point again? But yeah, so and then Alison or Ava actually says, so I get nothing? I lost my foot and I get nothing? And I really don't know why they didn't just take that moment, but Alison says our $1 million deal is still on the table, and I'm like, why? And we have the second funniest moment. So she takes the deal, and we cut to that scene where Ava's on TV, and she's like, I'd just like to thank the mayor and Alison Hawthorne for being so kind during this difficult time. She's just laying it on so thick and saying, I'm glad how the company is so committed to never letting this happen again.
All the beautiful BS.
Yes, and it's like... I couldn't believe it. But
that's what $1 million of BS sounds like, Okay, yeah, I'll say all you want.
Anyway, more cryptic messages before we even finish the episode. Madeline gets a card, or she finds a card, and it just has a very simple message with no name. Come see me, or I'll see you. Now, who of the siblings would be sending a message like that? Or really, what could it be that Madeline is hiding after all these episodes that we've seen? Who do we feel like she has someone who would be threatening her like that? Or even has just leverage in general?
To me, I kind of think it might be Sophie. That would be interesting because we know that she has this huge hook into Cam, and she seems to have a darker side to her. So I could see her being the one at least messaging Madeline, but it may have nothing to do with the Silver Bells killer.
That's what I feel like. Because then it would imply like Silver Bells is now going after the family, which is something we don't really expect just yet. No. We expect right now, I think, if Silver Bells is active, they're kind of taking out these periphery characters who are getting too close, whereas our main characters, they're safe for the sake of keeping our mystery going. So I found that very interesting. Yeah. Anyway, we get another interesting scene that I'd love you to weigh in on. So Tom and Alison go back home. Apparently their marriage is still doing, for want of a better word, fine. Mm-hmm. And, Tom decides he's willing to forgive everything about his wife in the name of getting into the bedroom. So they strip down. We get a lovely scene of Alison just standing in her bra when Tom finds Naomi's night dress from the night before. And immediately is asking, who is this? I don't know how... I guess he's very observant about it, because they seem very similar in size. Yeah. But she immediately just gives it away. It's not mine, it's Naomi's. And Tom does the thing like, you slept with her in my bed. Mind you, okay, she implies that she later told him how, but, you'd think he's going to be angry, and instead he just thinks it's hot that his wife is a lesbian and just wants all the details. And I don't know how to read into his character. Like, what is it about their marriage? Like, you're okay that your wife cheated on you because it's with a lesbian, but then you went behind her back to buy the company. It's like...
I mean, didn't I describe her as a Hillary character last week? I mean, it's very much like any kind of power couple in politics. they're really more about the power than they are about the relationship. And I mean, most guys, they found out their wife was sleeping with another woman, they're usually not that upset. They're like, could you bring her over, sort of thing.
It is.
Yeah.
I guess it's true. I guess I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out, like, what is the line that's going to mess it up for you, but I guess we haven't seen it yet.
And maybe he kind of knew that there'd been stuff before they got married, too, so he didn't seem too shocked about it.
He didn't. He didn't. So we get to a very interesting last stretch of the entire show. We find out, Cutter finds out that, or Brady is already aware that Gunther's DNA is not a match for SBK, so we already knew the gardener was going to be removed, but now concrete evidence, he's not.
Concrete evidence.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Yes. Okay, we move on. We find out the hair that Brady turned in from Tessa's brush is found to be Hispanic. And Cutter is like, well, I would not think that about your wife looking at her. And then kind of realize one of you is lying. Mm-hmm. And Brady is kind of like, I can explain this. This is, there's an answer to it. Cutter gives him 30 minutes to figure out whatever the truth really is. And he goes up to your favorite character, Dana. It's so delightful and
odd. I like her.
Yes, and Brady essentially says the situation, look, you have to say you screwed up. Dana, her reputation, I never screw up.
I mean, DNA is in her name.
Exactly. Yeah. But Brady's like, he realizes either you lie or it's going to look like my wife is hiding something. So Dana gives her the ultimatum. She says that, look, if you want me to hide it, I want two things. The first thing is if your wife is the killer, you got to keep my name out of it because that's it's your mistake. You're not going to say that I screwed this up and let that killer loose. And then secondly, because she knows he's connected to rich people, she wants a boat. And that's it. It's like, what kind? And she's like, I'll let you know.
She's going to go pick it out at, I don't know, it's Boston. Do they have Cabela's there? I don't know.
They have the harbor.
Yeah.
Doesn't have tea in it anymore because we had 4th of July. No. Okay, well played. We get a little more Alison and Naomi, so clearly I guess Alison has no problem double dipping in either side that she wants, so you go, girl.
Yeah, she's sexually fluid. That's so 2016.
I love it. Yeah. Now, another one that put a nice twist on our show. Cam has the $4,000 and he goes to this shady, looks like an apartment complex, finds Link and says, okay, I got the money. Link is like, it's all good, me and her settled it. And then obviously he figures out like, she gave you the money, then he's like, we settled it. And, Link gives him that look like, yeah, I fucked your girl and I got $4,000 worth out of it. And he's like, okay, damn. And Cam, after having his ass handed to him, takes the crowbar and just beats the living daylights out of this thug and just unleashes that dark side of him, leaves him unconscious, takes the drugs out of his back pocket and walks away. And I was just like,
that little guy did that. I know.
But what else is... Okay, so if he could put a beat down like that on a bigger dude...
Yeah.
I mean, what else is he capable of?
Exactly.
Is he capable of killing 6 people in Boston? Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, so it leads to a big dramatic breakdown with him and Sophie. So Cam is in her apartment and it just is ripping into her like, how could you sleep with him? How is this relationship working? And then she brings up, we have a son, and then he's like, our son is demented. It just rips Sophie. She leaves, which I actually find very interesting because I feel like she would want to just stay and work it out. I feel like she's seen the side of Cam before, so it surprises me that she leaves from it.
Yeah. But
he throws the dish after her, and we see the relationship is not well to end the episode.
I love how Renji 90998 says Cam was pretty badass for a second. Yeah,
he was. I mean, when you watch, it's like, damn. I feel like the actor who plays him is like...
He's pretty good, yeah.
Oh, he was like, oh, yeah, I'm good with beating this guy down. bought the guy a beer after, but it's like, I'll get it in one take, but I'm going to have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see the breakdown between Tessa and Brady. Brady confronts Tessa, like, how'd you switch the hair? And they have that exchange that I've been expecting. They both have their secret. They've both been found out. Tessa says to Brady, well, I was testing you and you failed. And Brady plays his card. I wasn't doing anything illegal. You were the one.
No.
You were the one hiding something from police. They escalate, and Brady essentially lays it out that, you know what? I'm going to do my job to find the killer no matter what. And yeah, even if it is your family. And so he leaves Tessa in that, the nicest character, and she plays that card. She looks heartbroken. But we know she hid evidence, so it's like, I don't know if I can feel guilty. And we get to the conclusion. Christina is apparently invited your favorite lumberjack-looking psychopath to her apartment. She gets the wine, she starts the music, she starts losing the clothing. We see Garrett looks like he's about to get down for round 2. He takes off his belt, and she's turned her back to him. And we end the episode with him holding the belt, looking like he's about to strangle her.
He's really just into S&M like the rest of his family. That's my prediction.
I don't know. I mean, just like I've seen this story before. A Morales about to die by the hands of a belt. And it stops right there. So after all this, we find out it's like, obviously they throw it out there. He's got to be the killer. It's so obvious, but then isn't that about Cam?
Yeah. They're all suspects.
Yes. Anyway, that's the end of the episode. We're left with that, and I know how I'm left feeling about it. I mean, how are you guys feeling? Because it was a crazy episode.
Yeah, like Charles Ray said, he thinks that Garrett knows who it is and feels guilty for not stopping the killer before. So that's like a pretty good prediction on, the episode. And yeah, basically Renji 90998 was talking about the relationship between Tessa and Brady, just a classic pot calling kettle situation. Yeah. That's
very well put. Anyway, okay, I mean, we're left, I know, I feel like we're in that point again that Cam looked more guilty, Garrett looked more guilty, but almost to the point where it was overly done.
Yes.
But, for the hell of it, let's run it. Let's get into our predictions, please.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
predictions. I love that part. Okay, so we've had 3 episodes, and in this most recent episode, we have Cam showing that he is able to easily overpower another man and leave him there out cold in an apartment. We have Garrett, who looks like he's about to strangle the second member of the Morales family and has not flinched yet. We have Alison at least willing to do cover-up of bad safety practices, and Madeline looked creepier. Okay, let's, as Zoe likes to do, who is suspect number 1 after 4 weeks and now our newest revelations?
See, to me, I'm still thinking it's a family job. I do think now that Garrett may have killed someone, but okay. I don't think that it was all his idea. I think that, he feels guilty, so there's something there. But then you see the way Cam is in those tapes, and then Madeline is just, I'm pretty sure she's the ringleader of all this.
I feel like it too, but then I'm just waiting for one of the sisters to get that wild card out there that's changing the game. And
well, Alison got her wild card out, but it was in another way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Garrett, and are you going to go with Madeline for the week?
I always go with Madeline.
Garrett and Madeline. you know what? He's too obvious. I hate how they're making him more obvious because I feel like it takes away from my prediction, but I'll go with Garrett. Fans, we will update you with what Zoe says, and follow us on Twitter, and we'll let you guys know where we stand. We love hearing all of you guys' theories in the comments. I love talking with you guys, and you probably get the messages too, just who did it, why, what did you think of that? So it's so much fun. Thank you guys for watching, and Zoe will be back with us when we come back next Wednesday for episode 5. Yes, so until then, Lacretia, where can everyone find you on Twitter?
You guys can always find me at LACRETIALYON, since there is only one.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I've Googled it.
Oh, there you go. Well, guys, you can find me on Twitter all the time at Double G on TV, and I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.